sure everything's nice and clean on her. No leaking. I'm just real excited. I can't even tell you. I just can't even tell you. So, gotta pull her into her space and get her hooked up to shore power, and then we'll be good. I'll be back. So I just said, welcome home, Myrtle. So this thing is humming. Hi, everyone. I wanted to go ahead and give you an update today. It's been a pretty crazy day, but there's a couple things I want to say first. Number one, I want to thank all the veterans out there for their service. Specifically my dad, who served in Korea, and I just really appreciate that. And also to my uncles who have been in the service, and specifically my Uncle Gordon, who I fondly remember. He's passed now, but Uncle Gordon was a great guy and shared a lot of different war stories with me. Just finished watching the History Channel, and I watched the World Wars, and it really gives you a very unique perspective on the important role that our servicemen and women play. So with that, I want to thank you very much on this Veterans Day. Want to go ahead and also kind of give you an update on what happened with Myrtle today. So this has been a crazy 4 weeks. I brought the rig in, the coach into the service center. I think it was probably October 14th or so. And the reason I brought it was because I wanted to get the safety inspection done. So, I don't have an extended warranty yet, which, that's a lesson learned, but that's a whole nother video, which is coming. So what happened is I had a leak in the front of the rig, and I was concerned about the brakes, and there were just some other, issues. My dad and I had trial and errored, what it could be, and of course my dad's right always, because he's an exceptional mechanic. So he knew right off what was wrong. So we brought it in to the service center, and of course it ended up being the oil condenser compressing unit, which I still don't know if I really have a good idea of what that is, but nonetheless, I guess on these workhorse engines, they really have, they generate a lot of heat, and so as a result, I think the big deal is they need to be able to have their the engine oil and the transmission fluids all cooled, and I guess the condensing unit does that. So my son Scott and I went to pick up Myrtle, the coach, about 3 weeks, I guess about 2.5 weeks after I had brought her in, and I got less than 2 miles down the road, and she conked out. I just couldn't get her running again, and so fortunately I was able to pull into a bank parking lot, and we sat there in the bank parking lot for, I don't know, I guess an hour or two. I called the service center and I said, you guys need to come down here and get this coach out and figure out what's wrong with it, because up until that point it had run beautifully. But I also understand too that when you have a full tank of gas, the fuel pump probably doesn't exhibit as many issues as it does when your gas levels are low. Nonetheless, I get back to the service techs came out. They were great. They did a nice thing coming out for me, and they got the coach started and got it running. And one of the techs actually drove it back to the service center. By that point, I'm a wreck. Of course, I'm a high anxiety guy anyway, and between the brakes and the thing conking out on me, I was just like, oh my God, is this whole life thing for me? Nonetheless, at the end of the day, I do get it back. They did get it back there, and went over a weekend, and then they told me it was the fuel pump, and so the fuel pump got replaced. Of course, it took a week to get that part in as well, and so going down there today, I was going down with a lot of anxiety, a lot of anticipation, and really no confidence in my own sense of what it is I'm doing with this thing. But I went ahead and paid, and I got to tell you, my Good Sam's roadside assistance membership and club card really helped, because I paid $124 for that membership, and I got a discount of about $100 because of it. So that membership's already almost paid for itself. Anyway, so I'm driving down the road thinking to myself, God, this thing conks out in the middle of the traffic, because we're in full season down here in South Florida, and the traffic is enormous. And so I'm just driving away, and I just said, you know what, I'm not going to let any negative karma come into this, and I'm just going to get this thing home. Then all along the way, though, I was stopping and going, and the brakes felt great, the rig felt easy to control, And I really thought, wow, I'm doing okay with this whole thing. And then, you know, I had to change lanes, and I changed lanes with no problem. And then I got on the highway, and I took off. And I was holding the speed down to about 55 to 60 miles an hour. And I'll tell you what, the power behind this engine is huge. And it really wanted to go faster. And I probably could have kicked it to 70 or 75 if I wanted to. But I'm not driving that fast. So not yet anyway. Not until I feel a little bit more confident. So nonetheless, the coach is fixed. They tightened up all of the plumbing fittings. There doesn't appear to be any plumbing leaks anymore, which is nice, but the carpet's still damp in the bedroom, so I'm going to have to figure out that. I've got some mods that I want to make and do, and so I'll keep you updated. I'll keep you in the loop, and I thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, and would ask that you please visit my Facebook page at www.facebook.com/thepaddywagon. Thanks so much. So this is my son's dog, Lipsy. Her short name, her long name is Apocalypse. But she wants to get up into that. You want to get up there? You want to get up there, Lipsy? Lipsy, come here. What do you think? Do you like this place?
She's like, yeah, I'll take it for a spin.
She's like, yeah. She's like, this is it. I'm here. I'm home. Come on, let's go.
Smells. She's thinking.
Let's go. She's like, I'm out. Did you like that?